My name is Megan O'Russell.
And my name is Christopher Russell, and welcome back to Page by Page, Writing the Book in Real Time. We are at episode 22, and feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good. Yeah, we're recording this a couple of days before Christmas, before we spend some time with family.
Yeah.
So this will be fun. By the way, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I love that Hanukkah and Christmas, like Hanukkah starts on Christmas Day this year.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, or Christmas Eve, one of the two. But yeah, it's like that rarely happens. I'm like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
We're all not all of us. I know that people celebrate more than just that, but I'm like, look at all of us celebrating together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I know Hanukkah's not like a Christmas-sized big deal.
No,
but
no,
it's cool.
not. Yeah, it's not Yom Kippur.
Yeah, but it's so cool. So cool.
All right, so let's see what has been going on this past week. Like anything to catch people up on. I just did 5 days in a row at Titanic, and my brain is tired.
Your brain says all the people fall off.
They didn't all fall off the boat. Most of them did.
Yeah.
Most of them did.
I think that's where I'd get to, where it's like, it would just be, so if you, in the Titanic exhibit, it starts pretty and it gets morbid real early on.
It doesn't get morbid real early on. It gets morbid as soon as you hit the bridge, which is about 3/4 of the way through the exhibit.
It gets morbid really early on.
Man.
And I think if I worked there, I would just have constant nightmares of people falling off of boats.
Well, I told you, right, that like after 2 or 3 weeks of working there last year when I first started there, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do it. It is very depressing. Like, and that's why I will make jokes sometimes, and people are like, ooh, and I'm like, look, it's like, for instance, there was a gymnasium on the ship, and there's a rowing machine in there. So I say, and you can see there's a rowing machine, which I'm certain somebody found useful later on. And they're like, oh,
Christopher.
Look, I'm sorry, but at that point, it's kind of like whenever you have a great drama, like let's say Still Magnolias, which is a comedy, but you have that really powerful punch. I feel that contrasting, it's almost like having savory with your desserts, right? You need a little bit of salt.
You don't have to make a rowing machine joke to do it.
Look, I do. People are like, oh no, either they all want to come to my tour, or they're all like, can we have somebody's tour that's not his? I will say, and this is not me building myself up, but everybody who does my tour at the end is like, that was awesome. And I'm like, great, thank you so much. So they clearly are not mad about it. Now, I would never make those jokes in the memorial room.
Well, obviously.
That is where, like, as soon as you hit the bridge from there on, it is very, very serious. So,
yeah.
All right. And then, okay. So enough about a sinking ship. How's your week been, honey?
Good. I got a lot of editing work done.
Yeah, even on projects that aren't this.
Yeah.
So that was exciting.
I did. I actually got to branch out of Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer. Yeah. So I got a lot of that done. And this chapter took a while to put together.
Well, this is just slightly, but the longest one. And I think that it's for a very good reason. We'll talk about this later, but I said to Megan that I believe that this is the most important chapter so far. And I stand by that. I really do. I think that this, I'm not going to say much more. Okay. So do you want to give us a last time on?
Sure.
Or is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I don't think there's anything else I wanted to add.
Are you sure? Well, you were clutching. Why are you clutching your pearls?
I don't know. But so yes, this chapter is technically the longest, but I did so much to keep this short. I cut so much and rearranged so much.
I'm glad you didn't cut more, because I could not see how you would do this without
just to get this down to where it is.
Yeah.
And I just want you to be proud of me, baby. That I really cut it down.
What, you want me to be or them?
I'll take pride from anyone, but mostly I was asking for you to be proud of me.
No, I am very proud. But this just goes to what I say about your books often, is that there's not filler. There's never filler. And that's something that you said very early on. You're like, I don't have time. I do not have time or the page counts to be putting in a bunch of filler. Like, everything must make sense.
Well, everything has to make sense. And sometimes it needs to be like a calm, pretty moment in the storm. But even that is there for a reason.
Right. Yes, exactly. Like the calm of Anna riding out with Liam and finding the shadow bear. All right, I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, so that's book 1, Ember and Stone of Anna Vilbrea. I will always find a way to fit that series into this podcast. I'll always do it.
Hey, you like dystopian? What about Ember and Stone?
It's true.
You like
Paranormal. Well, let me tell you about the creatures. Have you heard of Croylock? Of course you haven't. Let me tell you about
love triangles? Okay, not quite, but there are several people who love her in some way.
That sounds dirty. I don't know why, but it does.
Fair. Okay. So the beer of the week.
Beer of the week. So this is probably my favorite beer of all time. I'm pretty sure that it has not been a contender ever. This is St. Bernardus, Abbot 12. And St. Bernardus is, I believe, the name of the brewery. We had their Christmas sale not too long ago, which is also fantastic. But this is just the perfect beer. There isn't one better. Cheers.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I guess oh my God.
It's so good.
Like, it's just
it's very malty, and it like borders coating your teeth.
Well, it's got this like kind of slight toffee. What?
I need to make sure I bring a toothbrush.
Well, there's still, I got you.
Okay,
I got you. Yeah. All right. Don't forget your toothbrush. Okay. I don't know what I'm referencing.
I have constant fear that I'm going to forget my toothbrush.
Okay,
wait.
So
sorry.
Side quest.
Quick side
I know
quest
exactly what you're going to tell. This is worth it.
And then I'll go right into previously on, I promise. So
I love this podcast is really just about us making fun of each other with some story in between.
Yeah, but I get to hang out with you. It's my favorite because I get to sit by you.
Thank you.
And they can't tell in the audio version, but I'm frequently just like perched on your shoulder like a little awkward parrot.
It's true.
I have a great time.
Yeah,
okay, so my story. Oh, yeah. We were lucky enough to go to Ireland
in 2017.
Something like that. It was that long ago.
7 years ago. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I want to go back.
I do too.
So I usually get jet lag pretty bad. So I was on my post-flight massive, I am gone to the world 3-hour nap. And I wake up and Chris says, I forgot my toothbrush. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I had to use yours. And I'm like, oh, Les, okay. My teeth were just so disgusting. I had to do something. At which point, neither of us had a toothbrush for the next 2 days.
That's not true. I had a toothbrush.
Well, I didn't because I was not putting that in my mouth, and it was not knowing the pharmacy shopping system in countries. If you're American and you're used to just like walking into a store and everything's there.
It's not that way.
It's harder to find a toothbrush when you don't know like what a toothbrush qualifies as.
If we had been in a larger city like Dublin or Belfast, maybe it would have been. But we were in Cork. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were driving through the countryside. Yeah. So it took us a little while. Like there was a lot of like toothpaste on a finger.
If only we had spoken the language. I'm kidding.
No, because I think the problem is that we misunderstand what a pharmacy is.
Yeah.
But we learned that there.
They were easy to find it was in Portugal. Like they had signs with like a green cross and then like showing like this way, this many kilometers.
They were like,
and I was like,
stupid tourist, come here.
I was like, well, that's helpful. Thank you.
Stupid tourist, your Band-Aids for your sore feet.
Well, and it's not like we're not stupid tourists. We're well traveled, but still it was just like, well, that's helpful. That is really helpful.
Because they stick way out on the street so you can see them from a distance.
It's true.
Yeah.
By the way, this is neither here nor...
this is previously on.
No, this is previously on, but I just wanted to toss it in there that if you too suffer from jet lag, what we do is we land in a big city and then get the hell out immediately. So if that's something, if you're like, oh, the sensory overwhelm of being in a city and jet lag, bad combo. So land in a big city and then plan to get right out of there and go spend some time.
And yes, Mom, we did take that advice from you. And yes, you were right.
Oh, I didn't know that was your mom's advice. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So
good job, Mom. Thanks, Mom.
All right. So go ahead with
All right. Now, here we go.
Okay.
Previously on Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer. Elliday moved to Laureldale in the Adirondacks in upstate New York, whereupon she was threatened by a werewolf to help her find a missing girl, or else. After her first week at school, we are finally getting to the deadline where Elliday must help Violet or suffer the consequences.
And the consequences are be burned out of town.
Yes. So she has decided to help Violet search for Clara. And she is on her way to do just that now.
Yeah. And so you just really answered the question of like, why do I think that this is the most important chapter? Because this is what we've been building to for weeks now. Like, this is what we've been building to, right? This is the moment.
The thing is, this is the moment from, if you were looking from the back end, or if you're looking from the front of the book.
Yes.
and you were at the front of the book and you were aiming for like your first destination on a road trip.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that nothing you saw along the way isn't actually more important in the end.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I see what you're saying. I was going to say, still, that doesn't make it, but I understand what you're saying. Yes.
So
narratively, there may, and that's, I also don't want you to think I'm discounting everything else that has happened.
Well, no. Like, I totally see what you're saying. Mm-hmm. It's just like, yeah, this is that first stop on this track.
And we'll talk about this more, why I still think you have not dissuaded me that this is the most important chapter in the entire book. I think that there's a lot that happens.
Entire book or entire book so far?
The entire book so far. My apologies.
Okay,
yes.
That's the clarification.
That's all I have. I only have to chapter 21. You don't let me in on what's happening next. So this is the book to me.
You know how much there is in chapter 22 right now?
How much?
The notes I copied and pasted from the bottom of chapter 21 before I gave it to you. That's how much there is in chapter 22 right now.
Got it.
So there's no information. There is information and like a time flow chart that I'm holding back from you, but there is no chapter that has.
It doesn't matter. There's a lot of information that is being withheld from me, and that is not how a healthy marriage works. Just going to throw that out there. It's just the look right now.
Okay, continue. Oh man, I already did it.
Yes, if you got him. Have him. What?
I am too much myself, and I inadvertently make fun of myself by doing the things that I know I'm going to get made fun of for.
Welcome to the club.
Okay.
Welcome.
Let's
it's not just you. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I got the Christmas slap happies.
Okay, so you're going to have to possibly stop me and make me redo this, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, okay. All right, I think I got it, though. I think I got it. Sorry, for those of you who are like, what the hell is he talking? You'll know in a second. Don't worry. All right, so this is Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer by Megan O. Russell, Chapter 21. We're off to do some stupid shit, stupid shit, stupid shit. Off to do some stupid shit. Let's fuck around and find out. Was that it?
Yeah.
Good. All right. I sang in time to the clicking of my blinker as I sat at the light, waiting a full minute for all of 0 cars to pass. In the misty and abandoned woods, I stayed with the tune of the Getting Ready song my mom used to sing when I was little. The misty and abandoned woods, just like a horror movie. Pause. I love that you're just dancing next to me. That's not distracting at all.
Sorry.
No, I love it. It's the best distraction. Okay, no, that's not true. The babes are the best distraction.
The babes are what we call the cats. Okay, continue.
Okay.
Ah, man.
Caleb had messaged me the address of where we should all meet. So when Caleb had messaged me the address of where we should all meet. So when Jason dropped me off at my truck, Paige had to stay for party cleanup and wouldn't let me help, even though I'd basically begged, since searching for plastic cups sounded like a great way to cling to the wonderfully low-stakes human drama of Mia and Carter shouting at each other, while both sobbing, of course, about something to do with last year's widow's fete and how each was undeniably at fault for... It either had to do with someone's ass getting flashed on stage or someone dressing flashy to catch some ass. All I had to do was tap for directions. I didn't take the time to look up maps or images of where exactly I was going. Why waste anxiety worrying about the creepy level of the abandoned woods where you're going to do some really dumb fucked up shit? Save that palm sweat for when you actually turn off the pavement and onto a winding dirt road at 1:50 in the morning. I hope that you don't break your mind. Oh, see, I did it. Man, I was doing so well.
It's okay. Try again.
All right. I went to Mary Had a Little Lamb. I'm so sorry. I hope that you don't break your mind. Hope that you don't break your mind. You're fucking stupid, Ella.
You got it.
I love you. It's just, you were so silly. Fresh-ish tire tracks carved through the ruddy road that jostled the truck hard enough to bounce me in my seat. Picturing Violet getting tossed around like a kindergartner riding in the back of the bus soothed the extra thrum of panic the ass-shaking ride wrapped around my lungs. The GPS led me past a cluster of 3 little cabins, then farther north, cutting toward Willow Creek. You are so fucking screwed right now. You're so fucking screwed right now. Welcome to self-torture. The problem was I didn't have a scrap of honest encouragement to feed myself. You know what you're doing? Nope, not really. You've done this before, and it didn't go well. You've survived this before. Barely. Your parents would have wanted you to help. Not like this. What do you have to lose? My fucking mind. Fuck! I slammed my fist against the steering wheel and jammed on the brakes. The truck lurched to a stop, my headlights giving brilliantly ominous lighting to the mist drifting over the deserted road. 20 feet ahead of me, the path curved. The thick woods blocked everything ahead from view. Tapping my fingers on the steering wheel, I measured the beats of my breathing, willing the mist to twist and grow, to surge toward the truck and drag me into a vision. Nothing. Just show me where she is, I whispered to the nothing. Don't make me do this. Just show me, okay? The mist stayed thin and corporeal. Please. I let myself wait for 2 minutes before easing my foot off the brakes and continuing down the road. Anxiety-fueled tears pressed on the back of my throat. It's the right thing, Ella. I shook out my shoulders. She's a wolf. You're a Sybil. This is how it goes. The road took a sharp curve, hiding the bridge over the narrow stream until I'd almost driven onto it. I stomped on the brakes, harder this time. The truck's jolt slammed my heart up into my throat as a shadow shifted on the far side of the stream. I threw the truck into reverse before the shadow stepped into range of my headlights. Dark hair, 2 smooth movements. Fucking Caleb! I gripped the steering wheel, simultaneously attempting to funnel the adrenaline surge away from my now racing heart and keeping myself from flipping Caleb the fuck off. He had the decency to look apologetic as he waved and jogged toward me. I scanned the trees as he approached, searching for enemies lurking in the woods, using Caleb blocking the road to stage an attack. Paranoid? Yes. Did it still feel necessary? Also yes. I waited until after Caleb had reached the passenger door and I'd given the shadows one last check before hitting the locks. I flipped my own lock shut by hand as he opened his door. Sorry. Seeming to sense my what the fuck vibe, he phase speed leapt into the truck, then closed and locked his door, thankfully not breaking the truck in the process. Sorry. For luring me into this horror movie? I lifted my now cramped foot off the brakes and pulled forward, clenching my teeth at the less than reassuring sound of the wooden bridge beneath my tires. I needed to talk to you. You know you have my phone number now, right? The road narrowed. Dead grass swished along the sides of the truck. But I need you to look at me. He laid his hand on the steering wheel, not trying to pull it from me, more like making sure I couldn't pretend not to hear him. Please. I stopped the truck, pointedly not shifting into park as I scanned the trees again before turning toward him. Your face is healing pretty well. The dark patch on his chin had disappeared. The cut on his temple had faded to a thin pink line, and only a hint of puffiness lingered around his eye. How's your arm? I asked as Caleb said, You don't have to do this. For fuck's sake, Caleb. I took my foot off the brakes. Ella, please. He moved his hand, laying it over mine, bracing his fingers against the wheel. So careful not to grip too hard, the touch became a cage. I pressed back on the fucking brakes. But if you are going to do whatever it is you can't do on Blackwood land, he kept his hand on mine, I need you to promise me 2 things. Need? I sharpened my glare. I have 2 requests I'm willing to beg for. The fear-honed worry in his eyes parried my fatigue-fueled annoyance. Your requests? Don't trust Violet, not with this. Meaning? A hint of my sigh came out in my tone. If she thought it would bring Clara back, Violet wouldn't hesitate to rip out your throat. I didn't bother arguing, instead swirling my finger for him to continue. Don't push me out of this. A fist of guilt slammed into my chest. And don't let Violet cut me out either. I know Clara was a werewolf. I know the Laurel pack is none of my business, and Ethereans staying clear of each other is how we protect ourselves in Laurel, but Ella... He lifted my hand away from the wheel, holding it in his. I need to be a part of this. No, you don't. Get out while you can. Stay safe. I ran the night Clara disappeared. I knew they were looking for her and did nothing. I can't do that again. I shut my eyes and dragged in a deep breath. Fuck. The cage of his hand tightened around mine, like he was preparing to rip me from the truck, saving me from whatever the fuck had made me say fuck. But he could have gripped hard enough to break my hand. Hell, if I hadn't unlocked the door, he could have punched through the window to get into the truck and been fine by Monday. He can still break. He can still die. But he's not doing this for you, Ella. He needs to do this, Ella. You know what it's like, Ella. You want the same, Ella. Fine. I pulled against Caleb's grip. He let my hand slide free. This is a bad idea, Ella. I opened my eyes and took my foot off the brakes. I am morally obligated to tell you that even from the little I know about you, you don't belong anywhere near this kind of shit, and getting the fuck out now is your best option. If you don't want monumental therapy bills, you have, I checked my phone, a quarter mile to choose wisdom and run. Understood? Yes, but I raised a hand, cutting him off. If all you're going to do is list why you have to stay, save it. It's your choice to make. Thank you. The hint of surprise in his voice wasn't comforting. I slowed as a small slit of light came into view. I take that back. What? It's your choice to make until it becomes mine. That doesn't make sense. Call it civil privilege. I turned off the road, pulling in beside Violet's car. There was no sign of Caleb's car or how he had gotten to this part of the woods. The cabin he'd chosen, while small, was far better kept than Widow Tomic's, with unchipped paint and a garden that had been cut back and put to bed for the season. Like Widow Tomic's, these shutters had all been closed, but this cabin had been carefully winterized, not shut up against prying eyes. The lack of murder aesthetic made convincing myself to get out of the truck easier, but heavy dread dragged against me as I followed Caleb up the two. Oh man, I was doing so well. It was such a good run.
You did have such an amazing run.
I'm glad. And now is actually a good time. So I had thought about maybe putting this in to the beginning of the podcast, and you can tell me if you think this is a good idea. But because I know that there are people who jump in randomly to the episodes, I just want to say to you that if you don't want a pretty massive spoiler.
Oh yeah, this is not a good place to start.
This is not a good place to start. So
unless you're like my mother and you're like, "Oh, I want to know the thing so that I can guess how we got to the thing as we go," in which case, welcome to the Page by Page podcast. Yes. Start here. But if you're someone who's like, no, I don't want spoilers, yeah, you're totally right there.
Yeah, I was like, well, if I mess up, I'll interject. And also, this is a good time to say that the last probably, I'd say 15 minutes of the chapter, I will be making cuts if I mess up because I want this to be smooth. Okay. That's how important, I think that this is a very important chapter. Okay.
That makes, you just made my ears start itching and the stress rash is starting. Okay.
Look, your ears itching means that somebody else is talking about you. Okay, not me.
Onward ho. Oh.
Okay. Don't call me a hoe. The lack of murder aesthetic made convincing myself to get out of the truck easier, but heavy dread dragged against me as I followed Caleb up the 2 steps to the front door. Light shone through the curtains covering the small, etched glass window pane. Did Violet break in? I whispered as Caleb opened the door. No, Violet said. I came down early to start a fire, Caleb said. I didn't even have to step all the way inside to appreciate the fuck out of Caleb. The main room of the cabin consisted of a table with 4 chairs, a small kitchen, pissy-looking Violet included, a ratty armchair, a slightly better love seat, and a fireplace. Flames crackled in the grate, filling the space with blissful warmth. I unzipped my coat. The cabin doesn't have heat, Caleb said. And you get cold, right? Yes, I really do. I went completely moth to the flame, struggling free from my boots and stripping off my sweater, letting the warmth reach my skin as I crossed to the very edge of the carpet closest to the fire. I closed my eyes, feeling like a sunning cat as I turned to savor the heat on my back. Thank you. You need to check the supplies. Violet's footsteps thumped toward me. Don't ruin this moment for me. The chill that had clung to the back of my neck since I'd eaten outside at Paige's house 1,000,000 hours ago ebbed away. I got everything on the list, Violet said. Perfect. Some of it doesn't seem right, Violet said. I laced my still cold fingers behind my back. Did you bring the coffee? Yes. Great. I opened my eyes. You lay out the drop cloth, I'll pound coffee and organize supplies. What can I do? Caleb asked. Check all the locks, I said over Violet's leave. If someone calls us in as trespassers, we'll need a minute to clean up before the sheriff, cue growl from Violet, comes barging in. Violet gave the brand new drop cloth a thwap, spreading it out on the floor as Caleb turned both locks on the door. I poured myself a mug of shockingly unshitty coffee from a thermos before examining the rest of the supplies on the table. Non-plastic bowl? Check. Small knife? Check. Candle? Check. Compass? Check. 4 small stones? Check. Post-trauma kit? Check. These are real sketchbooks. I lifted the stack of 3, also brand new, sketchbooks from the table. That's what you asked for. Violet smoothed the corners of the cloth. I said books to sketch in. I didn't tell her having the cloth smooth didn't matter as she moved on to the next corner. Where did you even find these in Laureldale on a Saturday night? I broke into the school. Caleb and I both froze. Violet glanced between us. It's not hard. Good to know. I sipped my coffee and moved on to the 2 most important things I'd told Violet to find. The same 2 things that rolled sour fear through my stomach at the mere thought of touching. A photo of Clara. Not like the staged school picture type photos that had been in the paper. This Clara smiled. A smile with a hint of daring as she nestled close to a boy, the pair of them sitting on top of a snow-covered picnic bench. The boy, Luka Nikolic, beamed down at her, the intensity in his eyes like he was actively memorizing every atom of her being. And Clara had tipped her head back just a bit, leaning against Luka's shoulder, completely relaxed and secure in his arms. If life were as easy as moments caught in pictures, this one image would be enough to prove Clara didn't leave Laureldale willingly. The girl in that photo would never abandon that boy. But life is fucking complicated, and 10 minutes after that picture was taken, they could have had the kind of fight that would drive them apart forever. Capping off my supplies, beside the picture lay a small, worn, stuffed unicorn with a pink tail and a rainbow horn that had long since lost its sparkle. Her unicorn was the best thing I could... Her unicorn was the best thing I could find in my brother's room. It'll work. I turned away from the unicorn. What? Don't laugh at my Violet. Violet's just perpetually angry, is what I've decided. She's just always has that. She's like Bruce Banner. That's the secret, Cap. I'm always angry. No?
Alonzi?
Okay. Her unicorn was the best thing I could find in my brother's room. It'll work. I turned away from the unicorn, carrying the pilfered sketchbooks to the center of the drop cloth. I brought a hoodie she liked to steal from Luka too, Violet said. I shook my head. The unicorn's better. Setting up and settling in took less than 2 minutes, an oddly anticlimactic prep time. Candle north of me, just out of arm's reach, the same with the 4 stones marking the cardinal directions. The picture and stuffed unicorn flanked the bowl in front of me. Sketchbooks and pencils to my right, knife in my lap. I gulped coffee, pretending caffeine had some intrinsic supernatural power to make the next part easier that had somehow been hidden from me. What now? Violet stepped behind the candle, keeping the sight line between me and the flame clear. At least she's not an idiot. I poured the rest of the coffee down my throat, wishing it had been hot enough to burn and surge an extra spark of pain-born awareness through my mind. Caleb stepped in front of Violet. What Violet means is, Violet growled, what do you need from us? I dug my knuckles into my eyes, debating either A, trying to explain that need is a loose term since being a Sibyl isn't like being a witch. I didn't get handed the family grimoire to study. There is no set way for Sibyls to do anything, so it's really all fuck around and find out, and the best fucking option I have is a Hail Mary shitstorm formulated by a witch in Louisiana. My mother, in a super unrelated incident, ended up killing 2 weeks later, so the witch never got to tweak the ritual, and oh right, I've only ever tried this fucking thing twice, and neither attempt went well. The fuck? Violet said. Shit. Good fucking job, Ella. I panicked and used my outside voice, right? I dug my knuckles in harder, making white spots dance in front of my eyes. What do you mean you've only tried this twice? Violet growled. You sound like an angry kitten when you do that. I felt movement before I heard the thud of fists striking flesh. If you want to work on the big scary werewolf growl, I can put you in touch with my uncle. I kept my eyes closed as the floor shook and a few more punches landed. There's a good chance he'd kill you for being a pain in the ass, but if you're aiming for pure murderous terror, he's the perfect mentor. The fuck? A gasp and the sharp crack of snapping wood punctuated Violet's words. Do you mean you've only, tried this twice? Why the fuck would you think I'm an expert? I opened my eyes. My candle had tipped over and, thankfully, gone out. A wooden chair had been sacrificed to the fight. Violet now held one of its legs over Caleb's eye while pinning him down with her knee driving into the arm she'd already wounded once. For fuck's sake, Violet, get off him. How have you only done this twice? She kept her weapon close to his eye. You're a fucking Sybil. I'm not talking to you while you have Caleb pinned. Let him up, you moody asshole. A moment of silent obstinance passed before she leapt to her feet. Caleb was up an instant later, his gaze darting toward the wooden block of knives on the kitchen counter. Caleb, you good? He jerked a tiny nod. And peace ruled the Ethereans. I crawled forward enough to light the candle. Who has the matches? Answer me, Sybil, Violet said. This time, Caleb growled. Still not terrifying, but the combination of the low, aggressive rumble and his protective stance as he planted himself between Violet and me was in no way disappointing. Focus, Ella. Someone relight the candle, then both of you sit down. I settled back into sitting cross-legged. Lights on or off? Caleb asked once Violet had broken their glare off and knelt to relight the candle. Off, I guess. Violet stiffened at the word guess. Sibyls are born of all Etherean races. I squared my shoulders, bracing myself for the nauseating truth. We're all seers, but our gifts are built on our lineage, the power we inherit through our blood. Some Sibyls spend their entire lives training and experimenting, finding ways to harness that power. Those Sibyls might have done a ritual like this 100 times. And you skipped Sibyl school? Violet held a still-lit match, not flinching as the flames reached her fingers, or as I stared into her bright blue eyes. Visions slash into my head all the time. Walking into a room, a quick touch, a phrase, a look, anything can do it. And sometimes I don't know what the hell even triggered a vision. My mind is never safe. All I want is to keep fucking visions out. I held Violet's gaze, even as the heat of tears pushed up into my eyes. There is a gate in my head and a horde of awful constantly trying to break in. I fight to keep the gate closed, but things creep in through the cracks, and sometimes the door slips open, and even if it's just a sliver, forcing it closed is so much harder than keeping it locked in the first place. And if something breaks the gate down, the weight of the visions fighting to get into my head cracks the world, and there's nothing left but a bottomless fucking pit. Climbing back out is hell, and it's exhausting, and it's really easy to forget why the fuck it's worth even trying to make it. And you know what's even fucking worse than the gate crashing down? Kicking it open yourself and screaming into the void, begging living fucking nightmares to come tear through your mind. And if I do this right, the nightmares won't just go away. I'll get to live with them for the rest of my fucking life. So yes, Violet, I've only done this shit twice. Caleb, turn out the light. The last bit came out with the same acid I'd been spewing at Violet. I didn't stop to apologize. Using anger as momentum, I grabbed the knife and dragged it across the crook in my elbow, wrinkling my nose against the quick sting of the blade, not giving Violet the pleasure of hearing me gasp through my teeth like a blood-shy human. Caleb flicked out the lights. I set the knife aside and grabbed the bowl, holding it below my now throbbing elbow to catch my blood, staring into the flame, aiming for a look of concentrated preparation rather than waiting for my finger paint. I marred the confident facade by asking for a wet cloth to clean my arm once I'd completed collection, though apparently not too badly, as Caleb and Violet stayed silent as I wiped the sticky distraction away. Don't think, just act. Don't think, just act. I dipped my finger into the bowl and picked up Clara's picture, studying her long enough to lock her daring smile in my mind. Pressing my finger over her face, I obscured her image with my blood. I traded the photo for the little stuffed unicorn, nestling him in my lap, making sure I wouldn't lose him before locking my gaze on the candle's flame, willing my eyes to believe it was the only thing in view. Don't think, Just fucking act. May the blood that's been spilt bring your scent to my soul. I dragged my finger from the center of my forehead to the tip of my nose, and the taste of your fear to my lips. I pressed my blood-wet finger to my lips, then dipped 2 fingers into the blood. Bile rose in my throat as searing talons slid across my back. Send the cries of your pain to carry me through the darkness. I drew a red line beside each ear, and grant my eyes that which you fear. Red on my eyelids. The talons pierced deeper, trying to wrench me back. A vacuum of fear sucked the air from the room, from my lungs. I didn't know how I could still be speaking, but I felt the words vibrate in my throat. I consign my body to your pain. A line of blood across my throat and a final swipe down my sternum. The floor tilted. Darkness pressed in around me. I fumbled for the unicorn, gripping with both hands, clutching it to my chest. And offer myself as witness. Twisting and tipping and crumbling. I focused on the flame because everything around me, green, so much green with streaks of pure black, spun too fast, all of it blurring, dragging me in. Unicorn Ella. Anchor Ella. The stuffy had been with Clara for years, through heartbreak, joy, anger, and fear, a common marker in moments important enough to give me a handhold in the vortex that had learned to scream. I clung to the unicorn as I flung my mind into the chaos, with the same wisdom level of someone ramming their hand between wheel spokes to try and stop a bike, aiming for a ridge that glinted like razor-sharp onyx. The darkness cracked, bursting a bedroom with white-on-white wallpaper into view. Sobs drove away the screams, stilling the scene. My breath echoed in my ears, muddying the gasps that came between tears. Steady. You're steady. I pulled my gaze from the flame. On the unmade bed, the unicorn lay beside a pink bra, but no Clara. But she was there. I could feel it, fear wrapped in loathing, filling the room, marking this moment. Another coughing sob from my right. Pressure peeled across my flesh as I made myself turn. Clara, naked in front of a mirror. Blood smeared around her mouth, dried drips on her bare breasts, more dark reddish-brown on her hands and arms. Wounds. Yes, small cuts, not enough for that much blood. I pried my foot up, trying to step closer, needing to see why she was staring at her hand. But the blood on her hand became smoke, rising up, lifting the rest of the scene with it, leaving a different Clara in front of me. Her body warped as the room swayed. Candle, find the candle. Crystalline red cracked through her face. I spotted the candle's flame on the wall, a steady point to cling to. The room stilled, but Clara's face didn't heal. Rage pounded from her being, twisting heat around my throat as she stared down at a boy sitting on a bed in the pale lilac bedroom, well-kept, steepled windows. I am so fucking stupid. Clara's voice, crisp, icy rage worse than shouting. I actually believed you. Please don't be like this. Luca, sitting on the bed, hurt in his eyes. You knew how much it took for me to trust you. I'm trying to help you. Luca stood. He'd been hiding the unicorn, a textbook, and a cell phone from view. Laureldale is the best place for you. He reached for her hand. She smacked it away. The air shimmered, gaining texture as the crack of the hit spawned gleaming waves that cascaded toward me. Show me more anger. Give me your wrath. The shimmering grew, flashing too bright for me to see the room, overpowering the flame. In the distance, pounding, the familiar taste of Clara's rage. I flung myself toward the sound. Darkness swallowed me, dropping me into a chaotic world. Not full black. Shadows. Too many shadows. The candle? Ella, the candle. The textured air weighed heavy in my lungs, and the scent, sweat, liquor, cheap cologne. Fighting for breath, I scanned the scene, searching for the flame, finding a spotlight instead. Light focused on a DJ. The beacon of rage came from the shadows to the right of the spotlight. Clara, face contoured, eyes darkened, different from her pictures, from how I'd seen her in the rooms, but familiar. Why so fucking familiar? Swung a punch at a man's chin, the clacking, cracking of his teeth and jaw breaking bored through my ears, dragging pain down my throat.
The man screamed, spurring screams from the crowd. The sharp pitch blasted me back, not into a room, outside. Trees twisted into talons, shredding the moment. A boy, a girl, afternoon light, glistening on the ground, maybe snow. Fuck, where's the fucking flame? Before I could fight for details. Come on, Clara. I'm running out of time. Clara, please. The weight of a new vision knocked me back. I fell, not stopping as I hit the ground, twisting through a void into an upside-down world. A kitchen, dated, island in the center, too many mugs on the wall. The mugs shattered, knocked from their place as a shadow made of deep slithering black hit the wall above and fell, bringing the shelf down with it. Clara, angry, terror bleeding into her rage, dove into view, grabbing the monster, planting her feet, winding up to throw him. Yes, the monster held a man's shape again, but she stumbled, losing her grip. He laughed as he hit the floor. She kicked for his ribs. He took the blow, curling himself around her foot. The world wobbled. Fuck. Clara broke free, stumbling as she ran for the door. No. Clara, no. The monster rose. Singeing pain sliced through my legs as I fought toward the upside-down door. Outside, rain poured, already blowing in through the open door as the monster chased Clara into the dark. The ceiling grew, wrapping around my legs, pulling me down, not letting me follow. I couldn't find the candle. You can hold on. You know how to fucking hold on. My own fear tainted the scent of Clara's terror. Let me see. I'm meant to bear witness. I am a Sibyl, and I will bear witness. The trees outside stayed steady as I dug my fingers into the pulsing ceiling, anchoring myself against the endless fall. Clara! My scream tore blood from my throat. The taste flooded my mouth, tin seeping in the moment before pain slashed across my back. Darkness crushed in around me as I screamed, falling forward, hitting my head as I landed. A searing ache pulsed through my face, my hands. You landed. Landing's good. You're okay, Ella. You're okay. Hands gripped my arm, flipping me over. Freezing rain pounded down on my face. The agony in my back flared as a new pain plowed into my gut. Get up. Just get up. I couldn't get my body to move. More pain. Fuck! I couldn't breathe, not past the blood in my throat. The monster touched my face. His fingers were cold, calloused, and wrong. Why wrong? Get up, Ella. But my body wasn't mine. Agony blurred the sky as the monster lifted me, whispering something I couldn't hear. A jagged maw slashed through the blur. Not a crack in the sky, in the rocks. Near the edge of a cliff, crooked trees growing up, reaching toward the light, rocks and brush below. The world tipped again and shattered. Not with a vision. Death. My death. But I didn't get swallowed by eternal darkness or led into a painless light. I got to wake up in Caleb's arms, screaming in agony for wounds not on my flesh, stuck with a brand new memory of being murdered. Oh, God. So, in just to be completely clear, I actually had to stop a couple of times because I messed up, but once because I literally started crying. I was like, oh, God, I can't do this.
I'm sorry, baby.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good writing, and just trying to like fully embody this and do it justice was very stressful. This is, okay, if not the most important part of the book so far, I truly believe this is the most powerful scene you've written.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You talk for a bit. I need to gather myself. Holy crap.
What am I talking about?
What do you thought about the scene? Like, what do you think about the chapter? The scene. I'm such an actor. Oh my God.
I'm really happy that we finally got to this part, and I'm really happy that we finally got to have a bigger interaction with the Ethereans.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because it's been so much. Like, we're on day 6 now.
Oh my God.
This is day 6 of the book.
Oh my God.
So she's been at school in Human World all weekend, and this is the first time that she's really gotten like full on plunged into Etherean nonsense.
Right.
And I was really excited because I've been really enjoying the Page by Page podcast and real time writing the book. But the thing is,
have you? You seem so nervous when we do the podcast.
I am terrified every time. I get a stress rash every time. So that part's not great. But I have a fear that people are going to forget about the Ethereans because we are doing it a chapter a week. And we just spent so much time with the human element in Laurel-Dale.
Yeah, that's true. We did.
And so it's now we're really diving into that Etherean element. And so I'm really excited to get to the point where the supernatural takes over more.
Yeah.
And begins to rule Ella's life a little bit more because now we do have this, she is in too deep. Mm-hmm. She is not going to be able to get out of this Clara mess at this point. Like, nope, that's it. You're in it.
Yeah. I'm sitting here in my mind going through a Rolodex of intense scenes that I feel like you've written. And what comes to mind is the 2 chapters of the Blood Valley in Ember and Stone, the torture of a particular character in the Guildsville Brea series at the hands of a certain queen or elder, if you will. The scene with a certain werewolf in, I believe it happens in Soul of Glass with a handshake.
Oh, yeah.
That post scene, like those are the ones that I'm thinking of. And I feel like this might out-eke them all. Like as far as like pure, like I'm still like, it's just, I don't know why I'm so emotional.
Oh, thanks.
It's a lot. You should take it as a compliment. So I'm glad that you are. So I'm actually going to, I'll go through some of these like more silly ones a little bit quicker, but I do have a lot that I want to get to. So first of all, the first comment that I made when I was reading through this is when you said waiting a full minute for all of 0 cars to pass. And I went, ain't this the truth? Like that's just, that the way of it?
But it's Laurel-Dale. And that's the thing is that she's not only in town where there's no one up.
Yeah.
She's driving past where there's no one up. Like in space, no one can hear you scream. That's where we're at.
Yeah. Speaking of, we need to see that movie. Alien. Yeah. We've never seen Alien. I know. Please don't come after us or do so that we'll finally actually watch it. And then I wrote the next, I was like, you are ridiculous.
Okay. No, I want you to read them the sentence.
Okay. All right. So, this is an 8-line sentence. This is an 8-line sentence.
This isn't my longest by any means, though. I've gone longer.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay. So when Jason dropped me off at my truck, Paige had to stay for party cleanup and wouldn't let me help, even though I basically begged, since searching for plastic cups sounded like a great way to cling to the wonderfully low stakes of human drama of Mia and Carter shouting at each other, while both sobbing, of course, about something to do with last year's widow's fete and how each was undeniably at fault for... It either had to do with someone's ass getting flashed on stage or someone dressing flashy to catch some ass. All I had to do was tap for directions. So the actual sentence is, so when Jason dropped me off at my truck, all I had to do was tap for directions. That's the sentence. All the shit in between is superfluous, but is hilarious. So I wrote, you were fucking ridiculous. And then, I said, to which Megan says, quote, see, I gave you so many places to breathe though.
Like I have 2 drama dashes and a drama dots, which are what I call
and ellipses.
Ellipses and they're end dashes.
No, they're technically horizontal bars.
Horizontal bars.
Oh yeah, this actually just quick side quest for anybody who is writing out there. A horizontal bar, which you can find decently easily on a Mac. Don't ask me how to do it. You have to pull up like your emoji stuff. And there is a command you can do on PC as well. But this is something we learned when you were in trad publishing, that if you use a horizontal bar as opposed to an M dash, they look very similar, but a horizontal bar prevents line breaks. So like you don't have to worry about a dash happening right at the end of a line or at the beginning of a line. It will always connect 2 words. And that looks so much more pleasing.
It does look a lot
It looks
prettier.
much better. So we have adopted that into our style guide.
But I gave you 2 dashes and an ellipsis. So I gave you places to breathe.
Yeah.
But also, okay, just think about it this way. That 8-line paragraph could have been 1,000 words. God. If I had actually shown the scene of her being like, come on, Paige, come on. And then Paige kicking her out and Jason driving her to her car.
Yeah.
That would have been at least an extra 1,000 words, probably close to 1,500, which would have meant that we wouldn't have gotten to the vision this week.
Oh, no, we had to get to that vision.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you did that.
Yeah. You should be grateful for my 8-line long paragraph.
Just like I should also
it got us to the vision.
Be grateful for So I wrote this podcast. Megan felt it necessary to stop read aloud to discuss the integrity of this moment for fuck's sake. So this is the we're off to do some stupid shit, off to do some stupid shit. Let's fuck around and find out. That I might have changed my mind. That actually might be my favorite line in the song. But we had to go through. She had me go through and sing the entire song without all of the stuff in between
to make sure it was
to
a good
make sure that it.
song.
Oh my god, it was so funny. I had initially written that my favorite line was, "You are so fucking screwed right now, screwed right now, screwed right now. You're so fucking screwed right now. Welcome to self-torture."
I wanted to make sure that okay, because in my mind,
Yeah.
if it were working cinematically, there would be no lines in between.
Yeah, no,
So
that's
it all
true.
has to be able to be sung together while making sense. Now, granted, if this ever is turned into anything in a film version, chances of them keeping this song as written, not gonna happen. Like, that's not gonna happen. They're gonna do something different. The scene wouldn't even exist. Ella's name wouldn't be Ella, and
Nope.
it would probably be in California.
Here's the thing. If I had time, and I don't, but I had even considered, I was like, this is, because I have, as a composer, I have put a lot of money into virtual instruments. So I have some really great horror stuff, and you could very easily turn that into, give it a horror ambience beneath it. Ambience. That's how they're pronounced, Christopher. Don't combine them. But that could actually be kind of cool.
For
like,
what?
For the we're off to do because it is my next note for this, for instance, is oh shit, this is the most horror like I've seen it so far within this novel. Is the truck lurched to a stop, my headlights giving brilliantly ominous lighting to the mist drifting over the deserted road. 20 feet ahead of me, the path curved. The thick woods blocked everything ahead from view, and I'm like, this is actually pretty terrifying. Like it's
That's
it's
the
scary.
thing, is that like she is off there are no cars on the road.
Yeah.
She's driving really deep into the woods. There's no headlights.
Yeah.
Or there's no street lights.
No,
like
you're right.
she has headlights. So I mean, yeah.
Okay, and now we're going to talk about how I read this. This was my comment on this the first time I read this. Just show me where she is, I whispered to the nothing. My fellow millennials out there, tell me that did not trigger the shit out of you, the nothing. I was like, nope, no. And I immediately went, Artax. I was like, no.
Okay, here's the thing. It is because she's talking to nothing.
I get it, but you did this on purpose.
I did, because I was like,
'Cause you're an asshole.
She whispers to, and I was like, and then I wrote, just because sometimes I just put in what makes the most sense, and then I put in a note to like fix it later, whatever. I'll come back to it. And so I wrote, I whispered to the nothing, because that's literally what she's talking to, is nothing. And then I went back and I was like, I'm going to fuck with some people, because everyone in my age bracket has the never ending story trope.
Yeah, That's, yes, we do.
That horse screwed us all up.
Oh my God. Did you see the video of the parents, those evil parents who put their kid in a costume of Atreyu leading around the horse in the muck? I was like, that is rude. And you see this big black guy step outside of his door to hand out candy, and then it fades away and cuts to the little boy, and then cuts back to the guy, and he's like, and then walks back inside. That's like, thank you. This is all of us. This is all of us. Oh my God. Oh,
Okay,
anyway.
continue.
Okay. You said it.
I was doing well.
Okay,
I was
well.
doing well.
So the next thing I wrote was simply, oh shit. That was when Ella tells Caleb, it's your choice to make until it becomes mine. And I was like, oh, like she is taking control, because it's like, nope, this is my party, bitch. Welcome.
Well, it's not just her party, but even though she's only done this twice,
Yeah.
she's done it twice. They've done it never. They live in nice little Laureldale where everything's taken care of.
Yeah.
And bad things don't happen to people. So
Right.
it's like, hello, you toddler.
Yeah.
I'll let you play with the big kids till it's time for you to go the fuck home.
Right. So I skipped over a couple of things, but I did this. I don't want to skip over. I broke into the school. Caleb and I both froze. Violet glanced between us. It's not hard. I said, I fucking love her. She's just so like, what?
Well, okay. Can
Go, please.
So here's the thing.
We've got
Caleb-
time. I want to get to like this like hefty stuff. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm skipping over things.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Caleb was not born in Laureldale.
Okay.
he doesn't really have any Etherean friends.
Mm-hmm.
But even though Violet only really interacts with her brothers at school, she's still a part of the pack.
Right. Yeah.
A pack that's been in town for a long time. Knowledge of how to easily break into that school.
Yeah, sure.
Like, she's known how to break into that school before she went to that school.
Well, also, she can jump higher, run faster.
Well, that's
I'm
the
sure that she
thing.
can find ways in that other people could not access.
And she didn't even have to look for them
Yeah.
because her brother
Oh
knew.
my God. It's like when...
Because he got it from the guy a couple years older than him, who got it from the girl a couple years older than him, because they're all in the same pack.
Yeah.
So the wolf pack sees each other all the time. They just don't publicize it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to go off on a Fracture Pact side quest, but I'm not going to do that right now. Okay. So just because you do have commentary on my delivery sometimes, the line that Ella says, "You sound like an angry kitten when you do that," referencing Violet's growling, I wrote, "Is this a commentary on my delivery?"
No, it's not. It's
It's just that she knows what a scary werewolf sounds like.
Yes.
Yeah, and Violet is not
She's
that.
like, "Oh, you so murdery.
Right.
Good job, murdery."
That's why she's not really scared of Violet.
No, she's like, you haven't.
Well, Violet makes her anxious,
Violet makes her anxious because
but she's not scared of her.
You're gonna break my nose. You're gonna break my shoulder. You're gonna fuck shit up for me. Like, every time you come around me, you make my life more of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But she's not actually, like, scared of Violet.
No.
Like, ooh, big werewolf. Like, you could break my arm, but what's your plan after that, buddy?
So I want you to be really proud of me because I held on to this thought while I read the last, 2 pages of the chapter. I held on to this thought, which was hard to do. But that takes a lot of focus.
I'm proud
for
of
me,
you.
especially.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. My scream tore blood from my throat. The taste flooded my mouth, tin seeping in the moment before pain slashed across my back. I had not made this connection before, but is this the same thing that attacked Jason? And now I'm not expecting you to answer, but I'm like, oh shit, is that why you showed this? Because you don't do shit on accident. You do not do things on accident. So I'm like, oh man, now I'm wondering. Okay, I'm going to move on so that you don't feel awkward and having to sit there and not answer stuff. 2 things here. One, I got to wake up in Caleb's arms, screaming in agony for wounds not on my flesh, stuck with a brand new memory of being murdered. I wrote, what? How many times has she seen herself die? And I don't know why I was confused. I think that I was tired when I was initially reading this, but now it's very clear to me that it's not actually her seeing a vision of herself dying. It is her seeing that, and this is where the spoiler comes in, of course, that Clara is actually dead. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh God, that sucks. That sucks so hard. I'm like really worried about the fallout of this with Violet. I'm really worried about it. I feel like Violet, because, what are the stages of grief that she's going to be in such denial? And I don't know what she's going to do in that stage of grief. So we'll see. The other thing, reasons I think that this is the most important chapter so far is A, Clara's fate, right? B, we actually get to see Ella. Magic isn't the right word, but kind of tap into her own brand of magic, Like we've seen so far her willing the visions to come in, like there have been times when she's like, okay, I need to see this, please just come to me. But this is the first time that she has actually kicked down that door. Mm-hmm. And I think that seeing her be willing to do this, especially for an individual that she holds no love for at all. And it's not about Violet, right? It's about Clara. It's about her figuring out what happened to this poor girl. But the fact that she is opening herself up and seeing how the ritual is performed, finally getting to see that blood magic that she is able to accomplish was so fucking cool. And as you said, this is the first time that we're seeing the Ethereans actually work together. Yes, we've seen them all together before, but not in this way. Not in a world that is so apart from the human world of Laurelvale, right? So that is what makes this so far, to me, the most important scene in the book.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, it is this is the Act 2 drama, right? Mm-hmm. So now we have the Act 3 drama to look forward to, and I'm horrified about what's coming. Oh my God. Okay. So that is what I had. Did you have anything to add to this? Was there anything you wanted to discuss or anything that you wanted to go back and talk about that I touched on, but maybe we didn't, actually
The thing is, there are so many things that I want to talk about, but I'm
can't.
nervous about them getting towards spoilers. But things that I will say to contemplate is the words that you used when describing the ritual.
The words like that I use, not that I read.
You said blood magic.
I did.
So what is blood magic? You don't have to answer. I'm just saying, like, keep an eye on how your logic is going for that.
Well, I also want to know, I will, but I also, sorry, you just made me think of this too, that this is, and I'm assuming we're not supposed to know this by now, and this might be going into spoiler territory, so don't answer this if it is, but that this particular ritual, is this something that is inherently a part of her DNA, like as a wolf-born Sibyl, or is it something that was created by that witch that her mother killed? It
was created by the witch that her mother
So this
killed.
is not something that other wolf Sibyls can do.
Wolf-born
Sibyls. Not in this way.
No.
Interesting.
Because their powers, their sight isn't going to manifest the same.
So...
Because let's say a wolf, because all wolves have different strengths.
Right.
So if you have a dad who's a really good tracker and has excellent scent.
Oh, okay.
And a mom who's a natural empath.
Ooh.
Like, it's coming from, it is born of who you are.
Oh my God. I just thought about, sorry.
So it's whatever you are. There is no one way that it can be because there is no standard. There aren't enough of them for there to be standards.
Okay.
So it really is fuck around and find out.
Yeah. Oh my God. What was I going to say? It's gone. Okay. That's okay. It was not that important. Oh, no, I know what I was going to say. So you said that because you were talking about, so having an empath as a seer, that's hell. Mm-hmm. That's absolute hell. But on the flip side of that, how dangerous would a sociopath as a seer be?
Excruciatingly.
Holy shit. And they exist. They have to.
Mm-hmm.
Just by the laws of just
well, and it's also the same thing of like, okay, if you're a banshee,
like how random the universe is.
If you're a banshee or harpy born Sibyl,
yeah,
how's that going to affect you?
Oh God.
If you're a witch born Sibyl, if you're a vampire born Sibyl, because those exist. So it's like, how does that affect you? How do those powers work?
Vampires can be born? I guess that's not new to vampire lore, but I'm just like thinking about how the hell that works.
Well, how is a vampire born?
Oh shit. Are you serious? So they could receive the bite and instead of turning into a vampire, turn into a Sibyl?
It's how they're born.
Jesus. Okay. Wow. Holy shit. Sorry. I don't know why that bit of lore drop just made me like lose my mind, but wow.
So then you're a human vampire hybrid who is a Sibyl. Because you have your human DNA, your vampire change that made you what you are, but oh fuck, you're a Sibyl.
Oh my God.
So that it's, okay, well then how does that person's power work?
This is my favorite episode so far. I'm geeking out so much right now.
That's the thing is that there is no standard.
Yeah.
Because there aren't that many of them and there are too many combinations.
Yeah, sure. Jesus. Oh my God. I'm sorry, by the way, if I'm offending anybody. I say that a lot. Wow. Holy crap. Oh, sheesh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. My mind is wrung out now. Wow. This world, man, like I've said this before, but I have not cared. This might sound bad, and I don't mean it as bad because I'll say this on TikTok lives all the time too, that I like all of your work. I love most of your work, and I'm obsessed with a few series, right? And Ilbrea, absolutely, all of the books in Ilbrea, you know this. We talked about this right before the podcast. I was tossing around my theories at you, and you're like, shut up, we're not discussing this. I'm like, okay. See, it's not just you who's waiting and impatiently, it's me too. And I live with her. It's maddening. But this is 100%, like, not only is this up there, but this is like,
well, because I actually get to put this lore out there.
It's just so
like
cool.
This kind of lore, like if we actually got to go into on a podcast format why the stories between the Black Bloods, the Ice Walkers, and the Sorcerers in Elbrea are all so similar.
Oh yeah, Brittany, this will be for you in case you haven't discussed
this.
Why that
makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, there is a reason for that, but it can't go into the books because there's no reason for it.
But Brittany, you probably already made that connection because you're brilliant. And this isn't me just buttering you up. I've met you. We've talked many times.
But that's the thing, is that these things exist in my other series. I just never actually get to say it.
But and those of you who haven't read Elbrea yet, just know that you can go in with that little nugget of information that there is a mythology that goes with each one of those separate groups, and they are all oddly similar. It's kind of like how a lot of our religions have the Great Flood, right?
Well, it's also the same as if you go to the series that is in the Elbrea universe that has never been published.
Oh shit! Yeah, true.
That lore tracks all the way down.
It's brothers Gorum and Garum.
Yes, the lore tracks. And that's the thing, is that I love doing that. I love creating those lore pathways so that everything
Do you love
makes sense.
how I pulled those names out of my ass?
I am really proud. But
I haven't read that book in forever.
I actually get to put it out there with this, which is so different for me.
By the way, I just want to let you know, Brittany, I hear you yelling at Megan right now to publish it, and we're working on it, okay? To publish Shadow Shield. Is that what the name's saying, by the way? Do we know?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Okay, cool.
I don't know. We'll do some market research or something.
This is neither here nor there, but this is just kind of fun. So people ask me, they're like, so do you get to have any input in Megan's books? I'm like, sometimes she'll use me as a soundboard. And then sometimes I will give an idea and then she'll just take it and go a completely opposite direction. So for Shadow Shield, my idea was that it was a sci-fi and that our world had pissed off somebody beyond the borders of our galaxy so much that they had cast a shadow over our planet and now the entire planet was in darkness. And she's like, I like this. I'm going to take it and turn it into something completely different. And she did, and it was brilliant. So anyway, it was just so cool.
But I like you.
Yeah, I like you too. All right. So I think that is all the time that we have for today. So is there anything that you want to say?
Yes,
anything you have to say for yourself, Miss Author?
Listening to this in real time, and you are a TikTok person.
Oh yes, thank you for bringing this up. Oh God,
Hot Ones episode we will be live on TikTok December 30th at 7 p.m. Burning our faces off and regretting a lot of our choices.
And I'm not editing it out, which means it's written. So let it be written. Let it be. Oh, and that's 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, 7 p.m. Eastern time, December 30th, 2024. We're gonna regret a lot of life choices.
Yeah, we are.
But other than that, please follow, subscribe, comment, do all those things that help other people find the Page by Page podcast. And if you have any other friends who you think would enjoy our little journey, please send them our way, because we are always up for new fun. And the Hot Ones episode is going to be a recap episode. So it would be a great time to start in if you have any.
So we're not doing an interview. We're not doing the interview.
We are doing an interview recap.
How does that work? You're going to explain this to me, right?
Yes.
Great. Perfect. You take charge of that because I have no idea how that's going to work. I'm not, we're going to be out of our minds. So usually if you watch Hot Ones, and I wanted to make this point, sorry to interject, but I was like, this is important to say. If you haven't seen it, the person doing the interview, Sean,
his name is Sean.
Yes, he's wonderful.
It's fun.
He's great. But Sean, he has done the gauntlet that's how he refers to it, the gauntlet of the 10 hot sauces multiple times. Now that doesn't mean that he is impervious to the effects of these hot sauces, but he knows what to expect. I don't.
Oh, it's gonna be horrific.
And I said to Megan, I was like, should I try these? And she's like, absolutely not. We should both go into it blind. And I'm like, we're going to come out of it blind if we're not careful.
Yes.
So yeah, y'all, there's going to be ice cream on hand. There's going to be milk. There's going to be ice water, which ice water, I know, don't come after us. We know that does not work, but the ice
we're gonna have
on your lips can help. Wet naps. Yeah.
Yeah. We have a whole list. It's going to be great.
Should we try what Ariana Grande did with the coffee?
No, my stomach lining can't handle that. Don't even try.
Yeah, we're gonna prep with Pepto.
Yeah, we're gonna prep. Well, Mylanta. It gets that nice coat. You can see on the commercial the Mylanta swishes all around. All right, so please share, follow all those things, and join us on November 30th at 7 p.m.
No, December 30th.
December 30th at 7 p.m. so we can regret our life choices all together. And thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of the Page by Page podcast.
And as always, thank you for reading. Oh.